In an exclusive interview, Dr. Wangi outlined his findings, noting that the primary types of inflation experienced in Papua New Guinea since political independence include demand pull, cost push, and imported inflation. He attributed the current inflationary pressures to developments since 2020 following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic.
Inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services over a period of time. And currently, we are actually experiencing imported inflation. Imported inflation, it is inflation that is coming mainly through the imports that we are importing from abroad, mainly due to the war in Ukraine, and prior to that was the COVID-19 pandemic.
He highlighted that reduced production has resulted in high demand, leading to increased external prices for essential goods.
The importers are actually paying more keener to bring in goods and services into PNG. And as a result, they are selling those goods and services at high price in the local shops.
Dr. Wangi pointed out that the war in Ukraine introduced a new challenge on trade restrictions, and destruction of production facilities during the conflict have further disrupted global oil and gas supplies.
Well, inflation, it is bad for our economy because it directly affects the cost of living, cost of business. Some of the existing businesses, they could not be able to survive because high cost of production, and some actually cannot expand because of the high cost of production as well.
To combat these issues, Dr. Wangi outlined 3 macroeconomic policies available to address inflation in the country.
The exchange rate policy, it can actually address the imported inflation, but unfortunately that policy is now tied to the IMF reform in the country. So the exchange rate policy is not free up until 2026. The only policy options that are available, it's through the fiscal instruments. Fiscal instruments, like some of the policy measures, especially in terms of tax relief measures, that can be provided to reduce the price of goods and services. And some of the good examples, like provide a direct tax relief measures on our imports. Imports that are coming through at the entry port, the customs, they have some charges and fees. So those fees, government should consider about reducing, especially on selected consumable items. The other one is to provide some tax relief measures, especially on GST, goods and services tax. Third would be like providing some kind of a price support, which is called a subsidy. So the government may potentially pay part of the price and consumers may pay part of the price.
James Gukan, National EMTV News.